This video will be an analysis of the CyberPower PC Overwatch Spring Invitational match of Cloud9 versus NRG Esports. Given all the recent criticism of NRG with the loss of Seagull and their general poor play, I will attempt to give an unbiased review of their performance in this best of 5. This video will only be on the first game of Oasis. The team comp by NRG is a triple tank with a McCree. This comp is anti-dive. McCree and Roadhog are good at disabling Tracer, and Zarya is good at disabling Genji. You can see that Cloud9 is playing the team comp that NRG is trying to counter. I like this strategy from NRG to take this position because given both team comps, they should easily hold their position until the point unlocks, and then their deathball strategy will prevent Cloud9 from being able to dive them, while Reinhardt shields them from enemy fire. Here you can see that Zarya is keeping Genji away, but Roadhog and McCree are not doing much versus Tracer. IDDQD is focusing on Soldier and Zenyatta instead of the Tracer flank. When the point unlocks, Tracer almost has Pulse Bomb ready, which I consider to be the fault of both IDDQD and Ube. As soon as the point unlocks, they rotate to the point and IDDQD dies. You can see that Dummy tries to heal McCree but is too late. McCree was already low when they rotated, which may be the healer's fault or IDDQD's fault. Instead of backing off after losing McCree, they try to push the point, which allows Tracer to fully charge Pulse Bomb, taking Zarya very low. When Ana starts healing Zarya, they kill Roadhog very quickly with Discord Orb on him, and then clean up the fight 6v4. This is a communication or calling error. They needed to back out, and they didn't. There are a couple of mistakes here. Cloud9's Soldier has Tactical Visor, which they should have predicted, and they still allowed him to take the high ground without contesting him. Roadhog just has to walk to the high ground alone, and Soldier will have to run away, which would give them a big advantage in the coming fight. The second mistake is when Ube fails to use his hook onto Winston when he jumps in. Winston may be able to block the hook with his bubble, but the risk is worth taking. Ajax uses his sound barrier defensively against Cloud9's Tactical Visor, which allows Surefour on Genji to clean up after the shields wear off. Earlier, Harblu was very effective at keeping Genji away from his supports, but in the final push where he has Graviton Surge ready, he leaves his supports to try and get a good ultimate off. NRG is facing a slippery, spread out team comp. NRG should have pushed high ground and attempted to catch Soldier and Zenyatta in the Graviton, as well as anyone else they tried to run towards. Because Transcendence was used in the last fight, this would have been a definite double kill at the least. Ultimately, this stage was lost because of minor errors, but more importantly, because NRG did not focus on getting positional advantages. In the original push, they allowed Tracer way too much room to deal damage, and then in the next two pushes, they left the enemy Soldier and Zenyatta on the high ground with zero contention. On this next stage, they run mirrored comps that are focused around a Pharah Mercy combo. I think this is a mistake from NRG, as Surefour is one of the world's best Pharahs, so they are putting a lot of confidence into Ube. The first engagement is a bit cryptic because it looks like NRG gets stomped in both the air battle and the ground battle. What happens is that NRG gets the first pick on the enemy Lucio, and then they proceed to lose the rest of their players on the low ground. It is difficult to tell without looking at perspectives, but this appears to be because the targeting of NRG is not as good as Cloud9, or it could be because the healers are failing to focus the right targets. Before Surefour is able to outduel Ube, NRG is already down 3 members. Because of the superior play of Cloud9 in the ground battle, Selly has almost fully charged his pulse bomb, which will give them an advantage in the next team fight. The next engagement is carried by Surefour, who is able to kill Ube and then help his team kill the rest. Cloud9 also has ultimate advantage because of winning the first engagement. Looking at the ultimates of both teams, we can see that the next fight should be pretty even. The fight will likely be decided by whoever wins the Pharah battle. The next fight will be long because of the Mercy ultimates and Winston ultimates that are ready for each team. On the final engagement, Ube is able to get a kill on Surefour, but he is quickly resurrected by Adam. Ube then gets killed by Surefour and is resurrected by Dummy. Ube gets killed again by Surefour, and Surefour is able to get off a huge barrage. He gets 2 kills before Harblue is able to use his defense matrix to block any of the damage. There are some mechanical errors in this engagement, such as Dummy pocketing Ube even when his team begins to fall very low. The main reason they lose this though is because they are being outclassed in the air battle by Surefour. NRG also neglects the high ground on this stage. Selly on Tracer will be slower to react to a high ground push than ID to QD, giving NRG an advantage. After they lose this point to such dominant Pharah play, they need to make a switch to a composition that can better deal with the Pharah. I've watched this VOD several times before, so I know that they attempt to have Harblue put more focus on Surefour to try and shut him down. The problem with this is that D.Va is not as mobile as Pharah, so after D.Va uses her rocket thrusters, she cannot continue to follow Pharah, and they will be put at a disadvantage in the low ground as it will be 4v3 in favor of Cloud9. This means that if they want to go the route of having D.Va put more focus on Pharah, they need to use the high ground to their advantage. If they can keep D.Va on the high ground, Pharah will be within reach of her defense matrix, and hopefully they will be able to have a better chance against Cloud9. NRG chooses to run the same comp. Instead of trying to take the high ground early, they try to emulate their first round strategy of taking hold of an enclosed position. This is really bad. Ube will not be able to land any shots from within the room, and Surefour will have an incredibly easy time landing shots. This call to go this direction is a huge mistake. If they had pushed the jump pad, they would have had a much better chance at winning the first engagement. Numlocked suicides into the enemy team without any follow-up from his team. This is an error in communication and potentially decision-making from Numlocked. After Numlocked dies, the fight is lost, and NRG have to back out. Cloud9 takes this opportunity to set up in a defensive position. Selly sits in an area where he can get free ultimate charge from a push, and the rest of Cloud9 take high ground positions to deny NRG this advantage. In the next fight, Harblue is putting focus onto Surefour, but even with that pressure, Surefour is still able to kill Ube, and because of the disadvantage NRG has on the low ground, they all get killed. You can see that Cloud9 is still the team with the high ground advantage in the final push. Because Cloud9 has positional advantage, as well as a man advantage on the low ground, they enter the last fight with a huge ultimate advantage. This push from NRG is better than their first two. By pushing straight through to the point, they force Cloud9 to forfeit their positional advantage. This forces the final fight to be more about team fighting and mechanical skill from both teams. Again, NRG shows that they have issues with either targeting or mechanics when they lose a mostly even fight. Cloud9 has a man advantage and easily cleans up the rest of the fight. Zephyr shows at the end how effective D.Va can be at denying a Pharah if the skill levels of the two players are disproportionate. Cloud9 puts on a great performance versus NRG, ending the map 3-0. Much of the criticism towards NRG is based off of the performance of their individual players. In this match, this was not really the case. While some mistakes were made by the players, the reason they lost was because of the decision-making of the team being poor. Oasis is a map that 2/3 of the stages are incredibly good for a Pharah. NRG put their confidence in Ube to play Pharah, and in the future if he is able to perform at the level that Surefour can, then they may have a better chance, but their lack of attention to high ground on all stages would still give Cloud9 an advantage. If they were to replay this match, I would recommend they play a composition with Roadhog, Soldier, Ana instead of Mercy, Pharah, and D.Va. If they ran this comp or something similar in the second and third stage, and they put a greater focus on the high ground, they could counter Pharah and likely get Surefour to switch to a hero that they have a greater chance against. This has been a short VOD review of the Oasis map of the Cloud9 and NRG Best of 5. Any feedback would be greatly appreciated. I intend to release a review of the rest of the maps played in the Best of 5.